and we'll take our first question from Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Oh, hey, Mike, how you doing? Sorry.
I'm good. That's okay. I've got a kind of a two-tiered question for you. I know we're talking about respect, but at the TakeOver Brooklyn show, WWE ran 3 different nights, and each night, specifically with NXT, but we saw it with the pay-per-view and Raw, it seemed like the makeup of the crowd was very different, and the demographics of the NXT crowd, both in age and gender, they skewed very young, both for men and women. And with the Raw and the pay-per-view, it seemed more to be more of all ages, different families and kids and things of that, and older fans. I'm curious what you derive from that and what lessons you've kind of learned from the unique demographics NXT has brought to you. And I guess the other part of the question is, you said 2015 was going to kind of be the year that you threw all sorts of ideas at the wall. What sort of lessons have been learned thus far, especially when you look at how you've gotten a very unique, different demographic than WWE usually gets for their larger shows, for the big NXT shows? And what can WWE overall glean from that information?
Well, I think there is a difference in clearly in the crowds that you saw on the different nights. I think that the bigger question for me is how much crossover is there, while there is a much larger, as you put it, like young adult, I think, influx into the NXT brand. NXT is a little bit more, it's funny because the brand is realistically no different from a performance standpoint, but it's a little edgier, it's a little more underground. I think I've heard people say, NXT is punk rock or heavy metal. It's more of a niche, and I think I think that's what you derive from that is we're feeding that niche. That niche is huge, though. Obviously, 15,000 people in the Barclays Center, we sold it out. That niche is huge. But when you talk about WWE overall, and you talk about, I think if NXT is punk and heavy metal and hip hop and a little bit more specific to those genres, then WWE is more pop music. It kind of catches everybody, and it's your general population. So you've got kids, you've got older adults, you've got young adults, you've got just about everybody in there. And you're trying to serve all those masters. And we're trying to serve a niche. I know who my fan base is with NXT, and that's who I'm trying to serve, But I think that the question becomes for me, what I would want to glean out of that is what is the crossover? What is the percentage of people that went from NXT over to the pay-per-view that went to Raw or vice versa, and how does that compare, and what were their likes and dislikes, because the idea, obviously, on the main roster is to serve as many people as possible without alienating anybody. And you try to do that, not always easy, but you try to do that in the best way possible. As far as 2015, man, when I say we've thrown a lot against the wall, from even running live events outside of Florida, if you look back to before WrestleMania of last year, we'd only done 2, I think 2 or 3. It's grown to. I'm hoping to have a fully functioning. Well, I do now, but I'm hoping to have a fully functioning third brand that is touring as frequently as the main roster is now. We've added in the live events at the music festivals. We've added in that now in December going to the UK. We have interest in doing festivals over there. We have interest in touring in more places internationally. As I was meeting with the promoter from Louder Than Life the other day, he was laughing at the success of our brand and saying, now's the time when it gets hard to say no to things that are really cool. You just don't have the space to do them in. And we're starting to get there now. People are starting to come to us with all these opportunities and ideas, and we're just sort of getting to a point where we're kind of running out of bandwidth, and we're starting to be able to say, well, it's a great idea. Maybe we do it next year because we don't have the space this year, But great problem to have.
Might be time for a brand split.
That sounds good in theory, but I'm not sure I can handle that.
You only got 24 hours in the day. All right, I want to give someone else a chance to get on here. Thank you as always, and I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Mike.